And now, coming to you straight from the 505's most news-biting source of political commentainment, it's the New Mexico Inquisition with Danger Cavaros.
Okay, welcome back for another episode of the New Mexico Inquisition. We're in Season 2, Episode 15. We got a great show for you tonight. Thanks for coming. I'm your host, Danger Cavaros. We have a great show, as I said. Tonight we have Gubernatorial candidate and total hot rod, Jeff Apodaca, on the show tonight. We'll also be joined on the panel by comedian, very funny man, Jeff Apodaca is on the show tonight. That's right. We'll also be joined by one of our comedy writers, New Mexico Inquisition political analyst, Jason Green is in the house. That's right. Let's talk about the news a little bit. Representative Steve Pearce has missed 41 roll calls on the House floor just this year alone. Yeah. Apparently, he's been spending all of his time running for governor instead of doing his job. Now, that's a 600% decrease from his attendance from last year. Yeah, he's missed important votes on things like gun control and an amendment on the Americans with Disabilities Act. I think that he feels that if he acts like he hates his job, it'll make him seem like a better candidate for governor. Steve, it's dress for the job you want, not suck at the job you have. Yeah. Speaking of Steve Pearce, a video has recently surfaced on the internet. Let me get this cue card here. It's very controversial. He's said a lot of interesting things against equality and marriage. Let's see, one of the things he said is, the next step then is polymorphism, where one marries many. Polymorphism, where one marries many. First of all, Steve, that's the wrong word, polymorphism. You're thinking of polygamy. Polymorphism is that thing when the Green Ranger had to fight all the rest of the Power Rangers at the same time. Which is not easy, not easy. Thinking of polygamy, that's crazy. The other thing he said is, where this is all headed is access to benefits. So he's trying to paint this as like a Medicare fraud scenario. He says, and so you can imagine that one person would say, all these people out in California don't have access to AIDS treatment. I'm going to just marry everybody. That's what he thinks. Slow down there, Trigger. Hold on a second. I think the Republican talking point is that after equality in marriage, everybody will be marrying their dogs and their laptops, right? I think the whole marry everybody thing has already been capitalized on by a bunch of registered Republicans out in the great state of Utah. So, Michelle Lujan Grisham has taken out a restraining order on a former congressional intern by the name of Riley Del Rey. That's right. She says that she's fearful for her safety and those around her. Now, the media is quick to report that Riley Del Rey is a trans woman in order to paint Michelle Lujan Grisham as some sort of a prejudiced bigot, but we all know that being afraid of trans women is Steve Pearce's job, right? Now, actually, the restraining order has since been dropped by a secondary judge who said that the order lacked evidence of intent to do violence on the part of Ms. Del Rey, and also said that it didn't want to infringe on her freedom of speech, Yeah. He also said that the number one reason for dropping the order is he'd like to see where this cat fight goes. Andrea Romero, the former leader of the Regional Coalition of Los Alamos National Lab Communities, it's a mouthful, has announced that she is not going to renew her contract after getting totally busted for misappropriating public funds for things like fancy dinners and baseball tickets. Yeah, that's right. So her solution, she plans to run for a seat in the House in an area near Santa Fe where lobbyists can then buy her baseball tickets and fancy dinners. Or just buy her. I don't know. We'll see. It's election season, obviously, and the claws are out. Democrat Garrett Vene-Clausen is being sued, or is suing Aubrey Dunn, a libertarian, for a series of attack ads. One of the ads states, "If honesty were leather, the state land office couldn't saddle a flea." That's some hillbilly nonsense if I've ever heard it. We're about up to here in hillbilly nonsense at this point. If hillbilly nonsense were leather, we'd all have saddles at this point. The weirdest thing about this story is that the two aren't even running for the same seat. That's right, Vene-Clausen is running for land commissioner, and Aubrey Dunn is running for U.S. Senate. So why are they attacking each other? Can you imagine the glee that their actual ballot opposition must be feeling at this point? Like all they have to do is be like, yeah, what he said. That hillbilly nonsense right there. Let's see, we've all been hungry. We've all been hangry even. I know I'm hangry right now. But have you ever been heisty? Anyone been heisty? This happened recently to an Albuquerque resident, Jarvis Canuto, was busted after breaking in and totally messing up a Chipotle in the Albuquerque area last Monday night. Yeah, it's beyond hangry for sure, very heisty. He rummaged around the store and caused a reported $15,000 worth of damage. Not counting the walk is extra. We got a great show for you tonight. Stick around after these messages and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back. We're on the New Mexico Inquisition. We have a really excellent panel to talk about some real issues tonight. To my right is our comedy writer, New Mexico Inquisition political analyst Jason Green in the house tonight. Say hello to Jason. I like your jacket.
Thanks.
It's a very nice jacket.
Yeah. It's good for funerals, weddings, TV shows.
Awesome. To my left, of course, everyone's very excited to see gubernatorial candidate Jeff Apodaca on the show tonight. Thank you.
What can I
All right.
say? The crowd follows the winners.
And now I hear what all the wooing was about. All the woo. Also on the show, he warmed up the audience before we started taping. A very funny guy. Jeff Apodaca is on our panel. Say hello. Thanks for coming on the show, such short notice.
Thanks for having me, man.
I appreciate that. You do a lot of comedy around town.
Yeah,
I understand.
Fair amount, yeah.
Stand-up comedy is like your thing. Do you have a show? Now, keep in mind, this isn't airing until probably next week. Do you have a show coming up?
I do,
like to plug?
just after that. So I have a show at Canteen Brewery coming up on April 7th. It's a free show, 8 p.m. We'll start about 8:30. So come check it out. We got a great lineup, yeah.
All right, excellent. We'll check that out. What about you, Jason? Do you have anything coming up the next couple of weeks you'd like to let the fans know about?
No, I'm focusing most of my attention on this TV show I'm doing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's good. Is that this show?
That's this show.
Oh, that's fantastic. How about you, Jeff? Do you have anything coming up?
God,
of importance?
I was actually going to go out and play some golf and kind of just take a week off, but
just
I have
relax.
nothing going on today. I have nothing going on.
on.
In fact, I think it's 72 days before the people of New Mexico elect me as the primary candidate. So we're going to be very busy for the next 72 days.
Yeah. All right.
We've been all over the state, and I think we'll be very, very busy working 20-hour days for the next 72 days.
So you're gonna get political on my show, huh?
I thought that's what we supposed to. I thought that was the whole point.
All right. Well, that's very exciting.
By the way, that's my full-time job nowadays.
Politicking.
Politicking. That's pretty much my full-time job.
That's great. What does the average day look like for you?
Well, I have twin boys that are 9, Asher and Gage, and I'm usually up with them about 5:30 every morning. My sons love to get up early. And by the time I get them to school, I'm usually on the phone talking with people around the country, and then pretty much almost 8 to 8, depending on their functions and stuff like that. And then we've been traveling the state. We've hit 33 counties in the last 8 weeks, so we've been pretty much on the road.
Wow.
So they're long, long days, and thank you for my staff who tolerates me, because it's long. See, that's them laughing right now, by the way.
Do you make them get up at 5:30 in the morning with you?
No.
Okay.
No. The rule is don't respond to my text messages or emails until you're up and ready for the day.
That's a good rule. All right, I like that.
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I do email and text message at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Let's compare that in stark contrast to the day in the life of a comedian. What is your average day like, Zach Abeyta?
So I wake up right around that same time, but instead of taking care of 9-year-old twins, I go work in a hash lab, and I make dabs for the local dispensaries and edibles. So.
You're going to be very busy in 2019, by the way.
Yeah, I sure hope so, man.
No. Hold on a second. What exactly do you mean by that?
Well, I'm the only candidate that's talking about how we need to legalize cannabis for adult use. And I'm the only candidate. I'm the only candidate that's talking about how we need to expand our medical side immediately.
Yeah.
So,
Does that mean hiring more Zach Abeytas?
well, I'll leave it up to the industry to do that.
Oh yes, of course, because we're still a capitalism after all.
Absolutely. That's how it works, isn't it?
That's right.
By the way, that's how keeps this show going, isn't it?
Oh yeah,
Kinda.
capitalism is definitely keeping the show going.
I'm trying to get you some sponsors.
Wait,
Hold on, we were talking about a TV deal before this.
That's right. Some sort of TV deal.
Not with me, just giving you advice. I spent 32 years in the media business, and I put business deals together. So,
What was that like? Your experience in the media? What do you feel like that's given you?
well, it's given me perspective on many different companies. I tell people, and you see this in your show. When you work in the media business, you're exposed to comedians, you're exposed to political satire, you're exposed to advertisers and clients and different vendors. You get to know people's industries and businesses, and then you travel the country and you see economies exploding and growing. So you get to see and get to learn a lot of different types of businesses.
What are you most proud of with your history in the entertainment realm?
Well, there's a lot of things I'm proud about, but the most thing I'm most proud about is the people that I've built opportunities for, and the people that I've given opportunities for to grow their careers and grow their businesses and expand careers. The people that I've brought on board and developed. I now have 12, maybe 14 people that started working for me. They're now big executives working around the country for big media companies. So I'm probably more proud that I've given opportunities for people as I was given an opportunity starting my career right here in Albuquerque at KOB before I went to New York to work for CBS.
Speaking of bringing people on board, is there room in your campaign for the likes of Dr. Peter D. Benedictus?
Probably.
Probably. I guess it's up to him, isn't it?
I think so. Peter and I have become good friends on the campaign trail. I know he was on your show last week, and unfortunately he's dropped out of the race and has endorsed our campaign. And part of that is he's agreed to kind of help us campaign and get our message out.
That's great.
Yeah. So we're very happy to have Peter D. We're very happy to have Peter D. supporting our campaign and being a surrogate for us out on the campaign trail. Absolutely.
One more question before we wrap up this first segment. I'll send it over to our political analyst, Jason Green. Do you have anything you'd like to ask Mr. Jeff Apodaca?
Anything I'd like. Have you ever seen the movie Swimming with Sharks?
I have not actually.
It is so good. I just saw it today.
By the way, I have I said earlier, I have twin boys that are 9.
Eye-opening.
So the shows I see are pretty much animated cartoons.
Yeah.
Coco.
I am very excited though, because they're getting close to PG-13, and Jackie, my wife, is just about to let me start taking them to PG-13 action flicks, which I love to go to, and my wife doesn't like to go to. So
That is exciting.
I'm very excited that Daddy gets I'm very excited.
A lot of great PG-13 movies out there. Rejoin us after this quick commercial break for more with Jeff Apodaca, ladies and gentlemen.
You're going to miss this audience next week, I'm telling you right now.
Welcome back to the Mexico Inquisition. We are here with the very charming and audience bringing Jeff Apodaca, of course. Let's hear some noise from all those supporters of his. Where's all the Jeff Apodaca people at? All right. Okay. That's good. That's good. So we got a big governor race coming up. We got a big primary coming up first.
We do.
I saw a recent political poll showed that Michelle Lujan Grisham and Steve Pearce are essentially tied in the polls. Have you seen this?
I have seen it.
Do you feel like you would have a better chance at beating Steve Pearce?
Have you noticed that they don't compare Apodaca to Steve Pearce? Have you noticed they don't compare me in there? I'm the only candidate that actually can beat Steve Pearce, by the way.
That sounds familiar.
And let me tell you something. New Mexico usually follows trends about every 2 years. So let's hope that our trend doesn't follow here locally what happened at the national level a year and a half ago.
Right, because then we're going to end up with some
With
sort
Steve
of
Pearce.
galvanized progressive wing in the state, which would be tragic.
We're already galvanized.
Yeah, right. So what reason exactly do you think that you have for being able to take on Steve Pearce more so than Michelle?
Well, I think what's more importantly is, our state's ranked 50th in everything. We've talked about this. Our state is ranked 50th in education, 50th in job creation. We have the highest unemployment in the country. And our political leaders, both my opponents on the Republican and in the primary, they're status quo candidates. We are actually proposing investing back into New Mexico. We're actually proposing to create 225,000 new jobs for New Mexicans. And my opponents are literally saying it's not credible and we can't do that. What our campaign's about is about investing back into us, giving opportunities to our kids and our high school kids and our New Mexican families, and create opportunities for our kids. And that's not what our political leaders do. What my opponents are worried more about is their political careers, not about your industry, not about New Mexico, not about television and film, more about how we can use the stepping stone as the governor's office to vice president, cabinet positions, back to Washington. And I'm tired of it.
Yeah, that really definitely seems to be going on.
Yeah.
So you haven't looked into your future beyond this race at all?
In 32, well, first of all, I'm an ex-athlete, so you look at every game and do the season, and my career, I've always kind of looked that way. And we're running to turn New Mexico around and to invest in New Mexico. I'm 56 years of age. I'm not starting a political career at the age of 56. We decided, and I say we because it's my family, we decided to run for governor because it's time New Mexico gets a governor who really cares more about investing back into New Mexico, big ideas, changing New Mexico, getting us in the right direction, and then I'm out. And I'm not going to worry about a political career. And what's happened today, specifically at the governor's office, is governors today are making decisions for the future of our kids and future of New Mexico because they're worried about political careers. And when you do that, you can't make the right decisions for New Mexico. So that's why we're running.
All right. All right.
I'm just going to keep talking because they got some smiles over there. I don't want any questions, so I'm going to just keep talking.
We both smile a lot.
We're just smiling the whole time,
Yeah, we're
man.
Must be that
Smilex,
cannabis,
not
medical
Wilex.
cannabis over there.
Dude, I'm in the upside down right now. I'm looking for Will and 11. I'm just like, where are you guys? No. No, man, I wonder, like, what's your thoughts on expanding kind of like fine arts in the public schools and stuff like that. I teach dance at dance studios, and there's not a lot of dance in schools, and especially for people with disabilities, stuff like that. So what are your thoughts on just expanding fine arts for just public schools in general?
Well, we've talked about this on the campaign trail, and that's a great question. We've talked about it, that Public Education Department, PED, is controlling everything. And what I can tell you right now, top-down is not working, has never worked. And so we will move 8% of PED's budget, $225 million, back into the classroom, back into the community, into those type of programs. About a month ago, one of my kids, we're having breakfast, and we have artwork up on the wall. And I told Asher, I said, Asher, when are you going to bring me some more artwork? He says, oh, next year, Dad. I go, no, you bring it every Wednesday. I said, and he says, no, Dad, next year. And I said, we have art on Wednesday. He says, no, next year. And the voice from the kitchen, my wife, goes, clearly you never listened to me. I didn't realize that my sons, who are in 3rd grade, have art every other year. My sons have science every other year. We've cut so many budgets and so many programs for our kids that our kids aren't staying engaged. And then we sit around in middle schools and high schools, and we wonder why we have 36, 46, sometimes 50% high school dropout rates, because we've cut art programs, we've cut science programs, we cut programs that keep our kids engaged in our schools, and we've cut opportunities and pathways for our children. So as governor, that's one of our plans. Our educational plan is we're going to move $225 million back into our schools and create these type of pathways for our children. Do you want to get in film and television? Here's your pathway. And by the way, we're going to create an international film school right here in New Mexico where our kids can be trained for below the line. So when you need people to work on your set, you will have New Mexicans trained for those jobs.
You know what? I can see the point. I can see the end game here because, like people like Zach Abeyta and Jason Green, they had art and science every year growing up. And I mean, look at them now. Just look at them. Just look at them. Take a good look at what art every year does.
We both have creative writing degrees.
We do, yeah.
Did you guys find out in commercial break that you had a million things in common?
Just actually 1,000,003, but yeah, we're getting there. We're bonding.
Okay, that's great. So I don't want to short-stop you guys. Did you have a question for Jeff? I don't want to hog him.
Oh no, you guys are doing great.
Great, because we're great.
Okay.
No,
we're good over here.
We'll battle you guys. Breakdance battle you. No, Jeff, I was saying, man, you got to sign your twins up for my breakdancing classes. I'll teach them a routine, and then they could open up for you on the campaign trail.
What's that?
Head spins.
What is that? All I know is my kids are now into this.
I'll teach you.
I don't know what that
move
is, but that's what they're doing now. And I'm like, where's that coming from?
You could battle your
talking about
opponents.
this one?
Yeah, that one right there.
Holy cannoli.
By the way, we had the convention last week, and one of my sons was more excited because they were up on stage. They were more excited because on the video afterwards, they saw themselves dab. And so they were more excited being up on stage, be able to dab in front of a bunch of people. So
I always get excited when I dab.
Yeah, you taught me how to dab.
Yeah, we dab, and we get excited.
Asher, Gage, Daddy's gonna dab.
Have you ever seen Pet Sematary?
I'm an action guy and and one of those cop show, Braveheart.
Oh,
Oh, all right.
That's a classic cop show.
No, but it's like those are the kind of shows. Gladiator.
right.
My wife, if Gladiator's on at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm up at 3 o'clock in the morning watching Gladiator.
Right? Just like with the bed sheet wrapped around you. Then have him kill communists! Ash is like, what are you doing,
By the way,
man?
that was pretty good.
Is that good? All right, we're about out of time on the show tonight. I just want to give you a moment to engage with the audience, with the 800 million people that watch the Mexican Inquisition. Here's the 8 million people right now.
Well, thank you for letting me be here. I'm just telling you right now, if you're comfortable being 50th, if you like being last, right, we're probably not the campaign for you. But if you want to start investing back in the state, our state has $23 billion. And we invest everything outside our state. So we're going to invest 5% of your money back into the state of New Mexico. We're going to create 225,000 new jobs. We're going to move money back into the classrooms and create opportunities and pathways for our kids. And so I just ask you to take a look at our campaign because the status quo is not working. And that's what my opponents are talking about. Let's continue doing the status quo and being 50th. Okay?
All right.
So let's go take a look at our campaign, apo18.com, and take a look at our jobs plan, our education plan, our health plan. We're the only campaign talking about ideas and solutions.
And you have your policies all online. For
All
everyone to read.
online.
That is fantastic. We are all out of time. I want to thank our guests, Zach Abeyta and Jason Green. As well as, of course, the great Jeff Apodaca. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you for coming on the show.